Welcome to the Saturday edition of The Box Seat. I'm Adam McGrath, joined by Mark Olmos. Mark, new season, Belmont Park.
Absolutely. Can't wait to get over to Belmont. Interested to see how the track will play as well. We're starting off our first meeting with the rail in the true, so be interesting to see the track pattern throughout the day.
Well, let's take a look at the conditions. They are on screen now. As you said, the rail is at an inside position. Do take a look at the track rating there because there has been a bit of rain around Perth and expected to continue as well. But the first run at Belmont Park for the season, so really looking forward to it. We start with a really good race as well, so let's take a look at that. Race number 1, it is the Perth Racing Twitter Plate over the 1,300 metres, an event for the 2-year-olds and a very even bunch as well.
Absolutely, Adam. A few different form lines coming out of this race as well. We'll have a look at last start winner Elite Faden, who was quite impressive.
Being stoked up coming into the corner, Johnny's Rainbow gets the inside run and they've kicked away, well away from the others. At the 200 metre mark, Daraja Jewel tackled in the centre by Leet Faden. Leet Faden and Daraja Jewel have come away from unmarked bills. On the outside, Leet Faden gets the head in front, does too well, and Leet Faden for Pike beat home Daraja.
Really strong performance there by Leet Faden, wasn't it? We have to remember that first up performance opened at $30 and ended up jumping at $5. Just didn't get the run that they wanted. Then went back to the trials. William Pike hops on board and we see this filly run a really good race. I think from that run and the battle with Daraja Jewel, as you saw in the replay there, that she still has the better of Daraja Jewel, especially stepping up that extra 200 metres for the run.
She might have the better of her, Adam, but I do believe that in that run, Daraja Jewel gave a beautiful card up in the race and she absolutely did no work, whereas Daraja Jewel was still finding the line after doing all the work. And the other one from the Simon Miller yard that you saw running on, that's one to watch for a later date.
Certainly was. Another horse I guess we can take a look at, Quilista, a really big fan of this galloper. Last start placing at a nice $7.50 and getting the job done there. The step up in distance, the big bonus for mine, and I really like the way she'll go about this.
I think those form lines may be a little bit stronger, Adam. You're dead right, and you know she didn't do a lot right in that run, and she finished off like a bomb down the outside and under Lucy Warwick. Winkers go on, which sharpen her up. I'm guessing they might try to get a little bit closer today and try to keep her focused, but she'll be running on certainly towards the end there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of hers, and for that reason I'm going to put her on top here. Number 7, Quilista. From number 6, Stored Energy, 5, Late Faden, and 8, Daraja Jewel. 7, 6, 5 and 8.
Adam, I'm sticking with last start winner Late Faden on top of 8, Daraja Jewel, 7, Quilista, and 6, Stored Energy.
Race number 2 at Belmont Park. It is over the 1,200 metres, an event for the 3-year-olds, and can't hide that a little bit excited about seeing the return of Vega Magic, but also River Dance, which put in a tremendous performance first up.
I don't think any of us were expecting to win as comfortably as he did last start at Pinjarra. We'll have a look at that replay of Riverdance winning well at Pinjarra last start.
2 lengths Ruling Angel, Butcher's Jews battling. In behind them, Zosimus, followed down the outside by Schnitzelong, but Carberry went to work at the 200 and he livens up the newcomer, the son of Schnitzel. Look at him go. He's racing away, Riverdance. He's now 5 in front, all interest only in the minor placings, but it's going to blow them away, Riverdance, and he waltzed in. Riverdance by nearly...
It was a really good performance there by Riverdance. You take a look at the trial before, brilliant form lines there. Then it came out and won first up, and the horse that had beaten the trial came out and won first up as well. So that really did stand strong. Won by 4.5 lengths, beating Red Glow, which then came out and run second at Pinjarra Park on Monday as well on Anzac Day. So the form lines are really holding up. Drops to 3.5 kilos. I think this gelding by Schnitzel is a very classy galloper, but does it have the class of a like Vega Magic?
He's an absolute beast, and that recent trial that he had in the sharpest time of the day, I think it was, and he just looks like a big free-striding animal. I think he'll get to the front and be hard to run down. I'm still not sure about the price variance between the two. Vega Magic's opened up around $1.40 and Riverdance is $4.60. I definitely had Vega Magic in the red. I definitely think it should be even money or better favourite, but $1.40, I don't know if I want to be getting sucked into that.
Yeah, I think Vega Magic really took the turn last campaign, and that was a positive. Leading up to that before, had been racing well with the second and the third, but last start showed no matter what pressure went on, he was up for the game, and we saw that in that run when Scales of Justice was flying home late, and these types were really pressing through the early stages. So I think Vega Magic, the one to beat, as you mentioned, the $1.40 to a big price of a $4 for Riverdance. I guess people just have a lot of hype about this horse.
Absolutely, and we'll have a look at that Shady Grey race as well, because 3 horses in this race are out of that. Shady Grey itself and 3 Mystic Maiden, 2 Brisanto.
Some really interesting form lines from this race. The biggest one that I find interesting, William Pike, winner on Shady Grey, hops off to ride Lord Conrad. Now he also rides another Mike Storrs a little bit bit later in the day. So bit surprised with that movement there. But from that run, Shady Grey, we heard David Caruna. He was very honest after the race and just said he doesn't know how many runs he's going to get with this 3-year-old. Has some serious issues, and for that they're almost just taking each run as they come, and it could be the last every time. Thought it was a brilliant performance. I think he can do it again. And I like the way that Mystic Maid, although finishing behind Brisanto, ran on strongly. Second up, has a really good record, a first and a third next to its name. And Sean O'Donnell riding, dropping in the weight, I think can certainly run a bit of a race here. So we'll take a look at the selections now. I'm going to tip number 1 Vega Magic, from 6 River Dance, 4 Shady Grey, and 3 Mystic Maid.
I've got the one on top as well, Adam. Vega Magic on top of 6 River Dance, 2 Brisanto, and 4 Shady Grey.
Race number 3 at Belmont Park. It is over the 1,000 metres. Just a small field here of 6, but what I like, there's the early speed and there's the back markers as well that want that speed, so it should set up for a really good race.
They're all going to get their chance, the long straight at Belmont, but we'll have a look at last start winner Born Supremacy, who finally broke through for Connections with a big win.
King Closet comes to the outside, and then Thunder Lovin' and Prophet Street now to the middle of the course, but March Hand, who they've backed at odds, leads the way. Born Supremacy starting to get around its heels very quickly though. Here's Born Supremacy with 100 to go, racing clear from Military Rain, who sticks on. He lifts Born Supremacy from Military Rain. Prophet Street.
Really good performance there by Born Supremacy. As you said, he'd been knocking on the door for a while. The drop back to the 1,000 metres was good and met the horses good in the weights. Military Rain gets 1.5 kilos here on Born Supremacy for only that 0.8 lengths, which certainly brings them back together. But at Belmont, this is Born Supremacy's home track now. You take a look at the track and distance record, 3 attempts for 2 victories and a second. I think can certainly run a big race, but with that weight swing, I am leaning towards Military Rain. 57 kilos, a nice gait. It's 1 from 1 at the track and distance. Has never lost at Belmont apart from its 2 runs as well. I think she can really run a race.
The weight swing's massive, Adam, and also you've got to consider the speed in this race. Will Born Supremacy get the same amount of speed it got last start? Because it was just jogging at the 100 and it was always going to go past them. This time in, 6-horse field, not sure to get the same speed, so there's a few question marks there. In the race, we've also got Express Dancer down the top there, who's first up for Grant Williams and the Peters.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Express Dancer return here. And the big thing, 52 kilos from Barrier 4. This is a really nice galloper. Has been first up on 3 occasions for a victory and 2/3. The last time it went round over the 1,500 metres had heat illness, so you put a line through that. And then you look at the form lines before that, beating Full to Bet, only 2 lengths behind Volkov as well, carrying 56. So dropping down the 52 kilos, I think can really run a nice race. And if there is speed on out in front, this will be the horse flashing home late. Selections, I'm going to take Military Rain on top, number 2, from 6 Express Dancer, 3 Born Supremacy, and 5 Du Printemps.
I've got Military Rain on top as well, Adam, the 2 with no confidence from 5 Du Printemps, 3 Born Supremacy, and 6 Express Dancer.
Race number 4 at Belmont Park. It's Australia race number 8 for our Singapore viewers. It's over the 1,600 metres. Only the 7 horses to take a look at, but again, a lot of class with the likes of Respondent, Northridge, Tonto, and also Tarquin Shadow.
Very competitive field, Adam. We were disappointed by Northridge last start, so we'll go back 2 starts ago and have a look at his replay of sitting outside the leader and winning quite nicely.
Near the middle, around the bend, and Northridge came out after Euro Sun, 1.5 lengths, Showy Chloe, and then Universal Law being asked to go. Sasso Circus behind them. Northridge went to Euro Sun. Showy Chloe now. Universal Law steered back to the inside, not getting a lot of room. Northridge, Showy Chloe, and Sasso Circus. Northridge fights off Showy Chloe, however.
Yeah, it was a nice performance over the 1,600 metres, and every time this horse seems to run over 1,600, everything goes right. The 1,800 metre runs, I don't have an issue. This horse can get the distance, but it's always out 3 wide, or it's a leader's day. Something seems to go wrong. But when Northridge is running over 16, everything just works perfectly. And again, we're going to see that. Barrier 1, 55 kilos. I think they'll just be able to roll off the fence nicely. And again, this horse has a brilliant turn of foot. Whether it's good enough, though, to beat some of the better horses in this race, I'm not quite sure. I don't have it on top for this.
Adam, there's a couple of queries still around this horse, just like last start. Randy Tan's a lucky boy to keep the ride, I think, after last start, 3 wide and back. Also 3 weeks in a row for this horse, and varying distances. Big question mark, and I wouldn't be diving into about $3, which it's opened up. We've also got Tonto in the race, and Tarquin Shadow's a really interesting runner, this mare. I really liked her first up. I thought she'd be a really good chance, and I think she'll be primed for this, although her second up record isn't that great.
Yeah, Tonto racing well, as you mentioned, coming out of the AHA Cup, the Bunbury Cup, and the Pinjarra Cup as well, so dropping in distance, drawn nice in 4, and has a good turn of foot. But the one that I'm really keen about is the one that you mentioned there in number 5, Tarquin Shadow. Brett Pope, Lucy Warwick, Barrier 5 is perfect sit with a 54.5 kilos. Go back 4 starts ago in the Group 3, Latrice carried more weight, 2 kilos more, and finished 4th on that occasion in a Group 3. This is a 78 plus in a small field. I think that this mare will be the one to beat, the 4-year-old by Trade Fair. I think she can just sit back and run on strongly. And we saw that last half, only beaten 2 lengths by Magnificio as well. So I think everything ticks the box here for a good win for Tarquin Shadow. I've got her on top from number 1, Respondent, 2, Northridge, and 4, Tonto.
Adam, I've also got the 5 on top. Tarquin Shadow from 2, Northridge, 4, Tonto, and 1, Respondent.